30 seconds and counting.
It's 1970. We have two men, and their goal is to go to the moon and come back.
2 minutes, 25 seconds.
The spacecraft gets off course. So all they have left, they're told by the mission control, is 14 seconds.
Neil Armstrong reporting the roll and pitch program, which puts Apollo 11 on a proper heading.
14 seconds of fuel. The only thing they have to tell the time is an Omega Speedmaster, a watch.
Okay, we've had a problem here.
And the reason that these two men are still alive and the space mission was a success is because of the Omega Speedmaster.
Hey guys, what's up? My name is Sara Dietschy, rhymes with Peachy. If you're new around here today, we are talking about smart watches versus analog watches, and I'm here with my friends Anna and Christian from Theo and Harris.
That's it. Watches are important.
Watches, guys.
Apple watches are cool. Smart watches are cool. They have a function, but they're not nearly as important. They're not nearly as valuable. They're not nearly as beautiful, and ultimately, they are boring and outdated. I'm sorry.
Your Apple Watch is outdated in several months. That Omega's still running. It's still working.
One user on Reddit found an unexpected result after taking an ECG on their Apple Watch. It came back with AFib. He then walked to a walk-in clinic. He was taken to the back and got hooked up to another ECG. Again, it returns AFib. The doctor comes in and told him, "This probably saved you." So in between being able to take an ECG with your Apple Watch, heart rate notifications, emergency SOS, there are so many benefits to a smart watch. I think the Apple Watch is sick. So this was the first one I ever bought. It was the white ceramic. Now this was a very pricey watch, over $1,000, and it's a smart watch. So when the new version came out 2 years later with LTE capabilities, well, guess what? I got this one. And then the joke's on me because I really don't even wear these anymore. So with all that said, when Anna and Christian came up to me at the pop-up that I had a couple months ago and said, "Hey, we want to tell you why we're not the biggest fan of smartwatches," I was intrigued because I was not aware of this huge community of people who value these mechanical watches and pay a ton of money for them. I think about in high school, it was really cool to buy chunky watches. So I actually had this big men's gold fossil watch that I wore all the time. I thought it was so cool, and it really felt like I was a part of this club. So to some degree, I get it, and that's why I thought this would make for an interesting video. So enjoy our conversation.
Oh my God.
Cue the laughs the moment we start
laughter.
Why is it not Anna and Christian? That's my
I
first
think
question.
I named it, and it just sounds cooler. I think Theo and Harris sounds like something
Any
you'd buy a watch.
significance
No,
to the name?
I don't know a Theo or a Harris. It
Okay.
just sounds cool.
Okay, so first of all, tell the people what is Theo and Harris, because right now we have
About 200 and something thousand, 200 and change $1,000 and maybe more. Actually more than that in watches. Theo and Harris is an online retail store for vintage watches, specifically from Rolex and Omega, Cartier, Patek Philippe. Those are the big brands.
I don't want to seem lame, but I only know of Rolex. That's the only brand that I know is fancy and sought after. So one of the first things that Anna said to me when you came up to me at the creator pop-up was like, "Hey, and I want to tell you why Apple Watches are terrible."
Gotta start strong, you know?
Gotta start strong, and that stuck with me, not only because, oh, that's a great YouTube title, but I think it's an interesting idea to explore, because as a person who has many Apple Watches, as you can tell, I'm not wearing a watch right now.
Period. So you spent
Period.
$1,000.
So maybe it's because I'm not active and I'm not working out, because I think that's the advantage of smartwatches. I just don't wear it anymore. What's wrong with the Apple Watch?
Well, I guess we can sort of tie this into analog watches.
Yes.
So, I mean, the first point and the thing that drew both of us into watches, not only technical supremacy and importance and history of watches, but what they can really mean to people. and the significance of having one that's, you know, an heirloom.
My dad grew up in East New York, Brooklyn.
Okay.
So he grew up real poor in this little apartment with cockroaches, the whole thing, you know. And he grew up, he moved to Staten Island, he grew up around a lot of rich kids, right? So when he was a kid living on Staten Island, all he ever saw was, you know, BMWs and kids who had better lives than he did. And Rolex was, you know, this at the top.
Yeah.
And he busted his ass, and ultimately he married my mom. They built a wonderful life, and he still really couldn't buy his own Rolex. My mom bought it for him for his 40th birthday.
Aww.
And I remember him opening the gift. We were sitting in his bedroom, and he got like you saw the green box, he started like shake. And I was like, you're right.
Yeah.
And that was my introduction to watches.
Yeah.
And I said, wait, obviously it's not just a status symbol. This is an emotional thing that he's had.
And even like, so Christian's grandfather has an Omega. It's from the 50s, and it's a pretty like common watch. Like a lot of people that are just getting into vintage watches or into watches in general had this watch, and he was a taxi cab driver. He had it in his cab every day.
Right.
And that watch is him.
Check that one out.
Okay, so what is this one?
That's a Patek Philippe Nautilus.
Okay.
That was a watch that was
Wow, I
introduced.
could have gotten my nails done. Close-ups, you know, with these $10,000 watches.
Well, that watch retails at $29,000, and if you can get your hands on one, they sell for between $40,000 and $60,000.
So why is that? What makes that watch specifically appreciate in value so much?
Because, well, mostly you can't make them again. That's it. You can't order a watch from 1990 to be made again. It's not 1990 anymore. You know,
So do they do limited amounts of runs and that's it for these watches?
That's it.
Okay.
So
what would be the typical quantity?
They're mass produced. They're in the thousands, but
Okay.
still, a couple thousand watches isn't that many in the grand
Right.
scheme of forever.
Right.
You know, Rolex is, you know, like the only watch in the world that you can trade anywhere for a plane ride home. A friend told me that, right? It's pretty. It's the truth.
amazing.
Global currency.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So looking at it almost as that investment
Yeah.
perspective.
Right. I mean, it just is. This is a chronograph. This is a $75,000 platinum Rolex chronograph. It's a lot of money. Right? It's 75 of your Apple watches.
Get it away from me!
And-
Don't let me touch it.
And you know, it was antiquated when it was made. It's a mechanical movement that will never be as accurate as your Apple Watch. So it wasn't. So it was beat as soon as it came out. If you look at it from a technology point of view, but that's not how they're looked at or appreciated or valued. This watch is retails at 75, trades in the 60s, and will sell forever until it appreciates probably beyond 100 eventually. So if you look at it from
It's like an investment, buying a small home,
Yeah.
basically.
a home in Nashville. You have a couple of homes there. It's the truth. I mean, from a longevity standpoint, these watches, most of them are from 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, things that were great then and are better now. Unlike the Apple Watches that become out of date or out of tune in 8 months.
Right. I will, I guess, parlay too. With the Apple Watch, I guess if you use it as a tool and you are that workout person, and I've seen actually people with an Apple Watch on one hand and like a normal watch on the other.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
And so maybe in regards to that, don't do a me where you spend $1,000 on an Apple Watch. Maybe get that lower level 250. It's still gonna track your runs. It's still gonna tell you how many calories you lost, how many steps you took, and even Fitbits are such a lower profile way to track action, track your fitness. So we're talking about a completely different thing with traditional watches. I hope you enjoyed this discussion. I think it's an interesting one, and it's really cool to see young people enter probably a older industry and be making YouTube videos around it. And I just thought that was really cool. Their channel will be linked in the description below. I don't know how I feel one side versus the other, but now I know more beyond just the few times that John Mayer rants about his watches, because that was pretty much my perspective on fancy, expensive watches. Let me know what you think down in the description below. What are your thoughts on smartwatches versus more of the family heirloom and the collectible watch side of things? Let me know if you like this video. Hit that subscribe button down below for new videos every single week, and until next time, guys, stay peachy. Okay, bye!